I am MechaRandom42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and we have some more Star Trek Discovery news to talk about. Oh, it was just yesterday when everything was awesome and we had another episode of The Orville, and now Star Trek again. And to be fair, I did read this article yesterday. I was going to make a video, but we just had so much stuff to happen yesterday that I actually wanted to talk about, that I kind of pushed this one to the back burner because, you know, some days you just want to be happy and watch something fun like The Orville, and then some days you're more in the mood to rant and pick apart some of the crazy nonsense of Discovery. So, trigger warning, if you love Discovery, you probably don't want to watch my Discovery content on this channel. I'm not very positive about it. That's kind of an understatement. Oh, let's just get right into this article. This is from CNET. CNET. This, we've also found out that CNET is another site that is owned by CBS. So we're acting as the propaganda arm of CBS. This is why we don't trust articles. This is why I do what I do, because how many times are we just being advertised to in these articles? Let's get right into it. In Star Trek Discovery, Faith breaks Spock's logical brain. No. That's not how Vulcans work. That's not how Star Trek works. Mysterious red lights make up the central driving force of the season 2 plot. Why? Why can't we just have a show about space exploration? About, you know, stupid stuff like rescuing people from a planet, you know, like the Orville did. This is what we want. We don't want this from Star Trek. How do you top an epic interstellar war? We had one? Did we have an epic interstellar war? Because all we had was some Klingons that tortured some dead guy and then one of their own and combined them in some way that I still can't quite piece together, even after taking notes. And we had this unclimactic, uninteresting, unepic sort of end to some Klingon war sort of thing. I mean, I guess you can have a war with like 3 ships and a couple of starving Klingons that look like dried turds on the sidewalk. I mean, seriously, they aren't good. They don't look good, and if you don't believe me, that's what the Klingons look like in Discovery. And yeah, they don't look good. And no, she does not have hairy nipples. I have censored it. Yes, there's actual nudity in Star Trek Discovery. This is not what we want from Star Trek. This isn't what I want from Star Trek. So yes, they're trying to say we had an epic interstellar war. I've seen this angel, Starfleet officer Michael Burnham, played by Sonequa Martin Green, recalls as flashback scenes of her in an encounter suit amid fiery wreckage play out in the trailer that debuted at New York Comic Con in October. I have reactions to the trailers for this too. And I have this unmistakable feeling as if everything was going to be alright. Well, how sweet, how wonderful. It wants me to click on that. I don't want to click on that. I'm not going to click on your video. It's the same red angel that her half-brother... No, they're not related. Are you fucking stupid? They're not related. She's the ward. She's adopted. She had parents. Okay, so let's educate you guys. Let's educate everybody. CNET. You guys already know this because my audience is smart, but we're going to educate CNET. When parents have a child, and then both parents die and is raised by, like, Sarek and Amanda, you know, Vulcans, or a Vulcan and a human. That's not a half. That's not half. Had this... Oh my god. Oh no, I just realized something. They actually are remaking Star Trek V. He actually is Sybok. Oh no, they got everything confused because Sybok is actually the half-brother of Spock. But no, because now Sonequa Martin Green is not playing Sybok. Spock is playing Sybok. Just look at the beard and the smile. No, but so she's not a half-brother. She's not a step-sibling. She's an adopted sibling. Neither of her parents are married to either of Spock's parents. She just happens to be some stray cat that they kind of found off the street and decided to raise as a Vulcan. And that's a pretty fair analogy because Vulcans do kind of treat humans like pets. She's not related to them. She's not. So CNET, get your articles right. So, it's the same Red Angel that her adopted brother Spock witnessed before the start of the second season, an act that breaks his logical brain, said Alex Kurtzman, the co-executive producer and co-showrunner for Discovery this season. Spock is left with both his logic and emotions failing him. He is half human. Guess what, though? He struggles with his humanity and has had this character arc in Star Trek. We don't need to see it again. We don't need to see him struggling with trying to suppress his emotions, with trying to accept the fact that he has emotions, or more emotions than your typical Vulcan, because he is half human. We don't need this plot again. Star Trek Discovery takes a more cerebral approach this season. You know what? Saying it ain't gonna make it happen. It's still gonna be the same bullshit writing. I guarantee it. It's still gonna be the same kindergarten level, or maybe not even kindergarten. Let's be a little more honest and fair. This show reminds me of how junior high kids write when they text stories back and forth to each other. That's how the show is written, right? Via text message, via Twitter, by junior high kids. Because that's the level of writing we have. He cannot make sense of it, and he's emotionally ill-equipped to deal with it, Kurtzman said in an interview in October, which shouldn't make sense. No, that's... The exploration of faith brings a new, more cerebral wrinkle to this new season of Discovery. So faith and cerebral thought are two kind of completely different spectrum, like ends of the spectrum. And let's see if I can pull this up without completely destroying yeah, I can. So faith, as in believing something despite lack of evidence, or in the face of contrary evidence. That's what faith is, right? So that is what faith talks about. He's just believing in something just because. Totally not Star Trek, no, totally not logic, totally not anything. Interesting. Brings a more cerebral wrinkle to the new season of Discovery, offering a chance for philosophical discussions, adventure, humor, and, well, actual exploration. You think maybe we need some actual space exploration and, a show that they named after the ship Discovery. They haven't discovered a goddamn thing in this series. They've not flown anywhere, discovered anything. I mean, the only planet they even went to, they already knew about. They actually did all the discovering on another episode. Off camera, apparently. They didn't even show it. They go to this planet Pavo in season 1, episode 9, I believe. It's already been discovered. They already know that they have this giant array that they can use to bounce sonar off of to, send sound waves through space to find the Klingon ships that they already can find, which they say in this episode that I'm talking about. Hey, we just detected these cloaked ships. Now let's go to Pavo to find a way to detect them. Discovery is like the worst show I've ever seen. It has to be. Offering a chance for philosophical discussions, adventure, humor, and, well, actual exploration. Those are traditional elements of Star Trek that are absent in Discovery. And some of its hardcore fans accuse the show of lacking in the first season. Yeah, actual Star Trek fans. Of course we were complaining. You didn't have anything. Which had a darker bent due to its focus on the Klingon War, which, you shouldn't have done. We wanted to see that from Axanar, not from you incompetent idiots at Star Trek Discovery, but whatever. And I'm not saying the actors, so before Anthony Rapp yells at me again, I don't mean the actors, I mean the people behind the scenes, the people writing the crap, people like Alex Kurtzman. Discovery had a lot riding on its shoulders when it launched in September 2017. It was the first Star Trek show to premiere in more than 12 years. It also served as the flagship show for the fledgling CBS All Access service, which put Trek behind a paywall for the first time, pissing off many of its fans in the process. Disclosure, CBS All Access is owned by CBS, the parent company of CNET. Well, whoopty shit, go figure. We're finally admitting that we're just advertising the show in these news articles. Guess which other one's also owned by CBS? Comicbook.com. Another one. And I'm sure there's more. So, more Star Trek Discovery. I'm not clicking on your other articles. Some fans accuse the show of going too dark. And while the cast and producers deny the new season is a reaction to the criticism, their message over the last few months has been clear. If you like classic Trek, you'll want to give Discovery another chance. No, I think you guys have already burned the bridges for a lot of Trek fans. A lot of Trek fans are just going to listen to people like myself, Midnight's Edge, Trek Yards. I mean, and Trek yards are very fair. They see the good and the bad. You listen to me if you just want to rip the show a new one, and that's my job, and I'm very happy to do it. But at the same time, it really breaks my heart that Star Trek is terrible now. It's not a good show. It's not worth... I don't think it's worth paying money for CBS All Access. And they need to do a lot more than just say, oh no, it's going to be cerebral now. No, you guys need to apologize for season 1. You guys really need to apologize for Michael Burnham. Faith and superstition might seem to be at odds with the cold reason exalted by popular science fiction, but Star Trek has long dabbled in the topic. Most notably in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, which the Enterprise sets out to find God, or Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the deep look at the Bajorans' worship of the prophets. Alright, spoilers! We'll get into some spoilers if you haven't seen Star Trek V. Star Trek V was an alien. You've got the very quotable, what does God need with a starship sort of thing that everybody remembers. People also pretty religiously slam Star Trek V for kind of not being canon, for kind of being garbage, for kind of being a vanity project of William Shatner, where the budget and I believe a writer's strike or something, there was something that happened where Star Trek V would just kind of turn out to be one of the lesser loved ones. And yes, it has its fan base. And yeah, if you kind of look at it from the point of view of, well, it's just a dream that Kirk had. And if you look at it kind of as a character development of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, it works okay. It's certainly not very good. Also, it wasn't actually God. We've kind of evolved past this in Star Trek. People kind of know that there's more out there than just a guy in a beard sitting on a cloud somewhere. And that's what I love about Star Trek, is it is for the more scientifically minded people. And yes, you can be religious and still love Star Trek. There's nothing wrong with that. But it tends to cater to the people who look a little deeper, who want a little bit more than just blind faith. And like I said, let me quote this again. Like I said, faith is believing in something despite lack of evidence, or in the face of contrary evidence. Yeah, that's kind of that. It doesn't make sense. We have so much more evidence, especially in the canon of Star Trek, that things aren't just gods. If you look at somebody like Q or Trelane, or let's take Deep Space Nine's look at the prophets here. Let's talk about that. The prophets, spoiler, 20-year-old spoiler, the prophets were worshipped by the Bajorans, yes, and they were called prophets. But here's the thing, they lived outside of time and space. They were non-corporeal. They didn't understand physical bodies. They didn't understand time. They could be anywhere at any point in time ever. And this is how they ended up being Sisko's father and being curious about him, or mother rather, being Sisko's mother, meeting Sisko's father. Here's where I start to stammer a little bit. I get so mad I forget words. Long story short, the prophets are aliens that live inside a wormhole. And that's what we like about Star Trek. And if you're going to go and tell me that Spock is off on this religious sort of faith-based thing, well, A, why would he even care? His religion should be in the Vulcan logic. He should be reading the books, the works of Sirach. And, we had this whole season arc in Enterprise, and I know Enterprise is kind of panned, but we went and found a lot of text in like, it was 2 or 3 episodes. It was a pretty major story arc where T'Pol ends up like pretty much finding the writings, the way that changes the way Vulcans, are spiritual, and it gives them a lot of a backstory to their logic with these writings that they found in Enterprise. Why doesn't Spock just read that? I mean, it's only 80 years after Enterprise. T'Pol would probably still be alive. I don't know why we couldn't have shoehorned her in instead of Sarek and Spock. I guess because it's more normies know who Spock is because of Big Bang Theory, I guess, than obscure stuff in Enterprise, right? Now Discovery gets to share its interpretation when it returns on January 17th. Oh, the Red Angel. The 7 red lights, or signals as Captain Christopher Pike puts it, play a central role in the mystery of this season. The second trailer offered a glimpse of Spock as we'd never seen him before, basically as Cybok. We have seen him. He was just called Cybok in Star Trek V. We're not counting Mirror Spock. Well, you don't even know what Mirror Spock is because you think the Mirror Universe is mirrored. Just look at any of the Terran Empire sort of logos from Discovery versus, actual Terran Empire stuff. They have the continents backwards. Seriously, look at my Star Trek for Dummies Now video. I'll link that in the description below. The Mirror Universe is mirrored in Discovery because they don't understand what it is. Probably because it has to be 25% different. The second trailer offered a glimpse of Spock. Ethan Peck, who plays Spock, says it's a physical indicator of how he's different from the original Spock from the original series. It's through his relationship with Burnham, who also sees the Red Angel in a moment of crisis, that Spock is able to become the version of the character we grew up with, Kurtzman says. We don't need a backstory for Spock. We have one. We don't need to shoehorn this idiot adopted sister that he has. There is a time when Spock learns to have faith in his instinct. Peck said in an interview, okay, Vulcans, that's not logical though. Vulcans are not creatures of instinct and hunches. They are creatures of logic. And that serves them well, especially with their greater intellect, greater physical strength. You kind of need that in order to work with, these mongrel humans that you're working with. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but Vulcans are always kind of condescending towards humans because they do view humans as these sort of mongrel primitives, and that's fine. That's how Vulcans are supposed to be. Oh, the faith versus science discussion will mirror the dynamic between Burnham and Spock. No. We have evolved past this in Star Trek. You cannot keep regressing like this. Co-executive producer Heather Caden. Isn't Heather Caden the one who didn't even know that we've already done season-long story arcs about war, like on Deep Space Nine? I don't think I want to trust what she has to say. And I believe that was in one of the commentaries on the Discovery DVDs, which I'm not buying. If you guys want to send them to me in my P.O. box, please feel free to, and I'll take a look at them and I'll review the commentaries if I have to. But no, I believe that that this was the woman who said that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Martin Green said that as a spiritual person herself, she appreciates the chance to dig into such weighty topics. Well, maybe you should go to the Hallmark Channel, one of those channels that actually deal with sort of spiritual stuff. Not knocking it. I'm not. I'm really trying my best not to knock the religious stuff. It doesn't belong in Star Trek. Flat out, it does not belong in Star Trek. It belongs in Star Trek to be observed like, oh my God, these people are so primitive. They still believe in religion. And this is probably going to lose me subscribers who are very religious. But, Star Trek, it doesn't belong in Star Trek. I'm sorry. It is fine in the context of other things. No, you guys don't know how to do it. I don't want you guys touching religion. You guys can't even get Klingons right. You can't even get Klingons right, and you're going to tackle religion. Oh, it's wonderful to have time to have these kind of conversations and explore these times, because we're not just trying to survive and not be wiped out by the Klingon Empire, she said in an interview. Yeah, and in your downtime, guess what you could do? You could explore. You could find other aliens who are religious and observe that. We've certainly had our fair share of that. You could do that in new, interesting ways. You could explore social issues like they do on the Orville, like transgender issues, homosexuality issues. You could do all these things like they're doing. The guy from Family Guy is doing a better job at Star Trek than Star Trek. Let's take a second to think about that. The guy from Family Guy is doing better Star Trek than Star Trek. Unpacking Pike. One of the key figures is pushing to solve the mystery is Pike, played by Anson Mount. Last seen when playing Black Bolden in Humans. Yeah, but most people saw him as Mr. Bohannon in Hell on Wheels. And I even liked seeing him cast as Pike until I realized, oh yeah, wait, it's still going to be the same bullshit Discovery writing. Pike refers to the lights as signals because he believes there's an intent behind them. See, and if I were a starship captain with that kind of experience, I'd be like, that might be some sort of alien civilization we don't understand. Let's go see what this is. And from what I've heard, they've toned down a lot of Pike's religious stuff in this episode, in this season. They had to go back and reshoot a whole lot of stuff because they had Pike as basically this kind of religious sort of obsessed person where you had to stop and pray every 5 minutes, and that is not Star Trek. That is not what Star Trek is about. You guys are so off the mark on Star Trek, you have no idea. The amount of energy required to produce these signals is beyond anything we've encountered. It could mean another level of existence we don't know about. Thank you. And Pike is determined to figure out the source of it. Like Peck, Mount is taking on a character long established in Star Trek lore. But unlike Spock, Mount said there's a lot more to Pike we don't know about. It's strange how much the character is revered for how little we know about him. And that's why they like him. He's mysterious. That's why I liked Pike. He was mysterious. You know a little bit about him, but not everything. And that's how you do it with these characters. You leave some of that to the imagination. Once you dig too deep in backstories, look at the Han Solo movie. These characters lose a lot of their weight behind them, a lot of their mystery, a lot of their stuff, a lot of their interesting things. It's strange how much the character... Okay, yeah. The final act Mount includes... Oh, that final act Mount alludes to includes the Delta Rays leaving his body in a wheelchair, his mysterious final fate on Talos 5. Are we going to actually see that? Are we going to incorporate Talos 5? Because now I've seen some articles where they state that this is going to be a prequel to The Cage. Or a sequel to The Cage. I can't remember which, but I know that the timing didn't quite line up. In preparing for the role, Mount said he went back to the principles of Starfleet, knowing that Pike was Star Trek creators Gene Roddenberry's embodiment of Starfleet's curiosity. What does this guy need to become to get to the third act we know about him without being a tragedy, but a triumph, he said. See, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So, we've harped on this article long enough. What do I think? I think Faith should not be breaking Spock's brain. I don't think you guys should be marketing this at all as Faith. I think you guys should be out there exploring the galaxy, and we should be focused more on space and aliens than, stupid supernatural bullshit religion stuff. That being said, maybe they can pull it off. Maybe they're actually listening. I mean, we are getting twinges of more comedy and levity in the trailers. They still look cringy as fuck to me. I'm sorry. They still look absolutely cringy. I have trailer reactions. I have whole Star Trek Discovery playlists if you guys want to check that out. What do you guys think? Are we past this? Do we... Is this a good move for Star Trek Discovery for season 2? Are you guys even watching still? Have we kind of tuned out of Discovery? I certainly stopped my reviews. I've seen every episode of season 1, and I will be working on the short trek this weekend for you guys for sure. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I am MechaRandom42, and I will see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye! Thanks for watching! If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!